Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as although we do have rain around in the north and west today and generally quite a fresh feel out there, things are going to be warming up as we head into the middle of this upcoming working week. By Wednesday we could be seeing temperatures across England reaching widely mid-20s, and for some could even get to around the 30-degree mark. Now, it won't last all too long. It will cool down a little bit by the end of the week, but the general trend for the end of August and start of September, as we'll see from the longer range runs, and as we have alluded to over the past few videos, is generally quite a warm outlook. It does look like generally we'll be above average in terms of temperatures, and we could see numerous periods and numerous days where those temperatures get up towards those kind of hot levels, again getting to around those 30-degree marks. So yeah, looking pretty decent indeed. Although we've had a bit of autumnal conditions the last few days, things are likely go back towards summer this week and next week. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, which you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, to start on the live radar, as I said, we have got rain in the north and west at the moment. Again, another weather front moving in. It is reasonably organised in places, but some areas it's a little bit more on and off. There are some heavier pulses, especially towards the Scottish borders area. Again, here we're seeing some yellows and oranges and some darker greens, so quite a heavy rain, whereas further southwards it is quite a bit drier. But even here, where we did see heavy rain yesterday, we have got much fresher conditions. So even though in the sun, it does still feel fairly warm, the overall feel, if you're in any cloud, any rain, or with that wind gusting, it does feel more like autumn out there. If I do put on the temperatures this afternoon, we're calling this around 5 p.m, you can see the Far East temperatures nudging up above 20 degrees, but for most, we're more around the high teens or even mid-teens under that rain further northwards. And you can see why that is because we've had Atlantic air coming in, and you can see where the weather fronts that have given us a lot of rain over the last couple of days are now heading towards Eastern Europe, where it is trying to push away the intense heat, which is now sat across much of Eastern and Southeastern Europe. You can see the dividing line there through Poland. That's where we've got the cold front sitting at the moment. The cold front that swept through over the past 24 to 48 hours here has now made its way through much of Northern and Western Europe. But the heat, as I said, will be returning in the next couple of days as these low pressure systems get pushed back northwards. So if you do have a look at the latest UKV, you can see all that rain moving through in the north at the moment, but it should slowly subside through this evening. And as we head into Monday, for Bank Holiday Monday, so many people have got this off work, it is dry. It's not going to be terribly warm. Temperatures will likely get slightly higher than they are today, but the big thing is it's going to be dry. Got a bit of cloud around, a few patchy showers, but not too bad overall. As we head towards Tuesday, though, more heavy rain moving in, and unfortunately for the north and west, it's some very heavy rain, especially through the morning. But hopefully for most areas it should subside during the afternoon, but could still linger across northern England, North Wales and southern Scotland. But as we head into Wednesday, this is where things start to hot up, and even on Tuesday it's warm to the south of this weather front. Now by Wednesday, things are more widely dry. Yes, a few showers around, maybe a few hefty showers across southwest England, but for most it's dry and it is very warm. As we head into Thursday, a bit more rain around in the north and west. Again, more showery, but still rain for many. And unfortunately, temperatures will start to drop a little bit, but still would be widely low 20s here. And this is because we're going to see slight oscillations in those upper air temperatures, as although, yes, high pressure is generally dominating, it's not going to sit right over the top of us. So it is allowing these transient air masses to move through at times. And unfortunately, that does mean a couple of days of slightly fresher conditions once again. Now, if you look at the upper air temperatures, you can see very warm upper air temperatures come in for Tuesday and for Wednesday, but they slowly get pushed away into Thursday, but are likely to return by Friday, Saturday. You can already see it starting to increase in the south and the west. Now, if you look at the max temperature, you see this afternoon, temperatures peaking around the 20-degree mark. Not particularly great if we're being completely honest. But as we head into Monday, slightly higher, maybe 21, 22. As we head into Tuesday, even higher, 23, 24, maybe 25. And then Wednesday, widely mid to high 20s and could nudge 29 or even 30 degrees somewhere around London. So looking very warm there for Wednesday, proper summer conditions. By Thursday, as I said, dropping slightly in the afternoon, maybe 23, 24 at best. And then Friday probably will be slightly fresher again, maybe low 20s, before it probably will increase again into the weekend as we start to see those warm air masses starting to return. Now we can have a look at that at those longer range prospects on the latest GFS. You can see again westerly wind over at the moment, but high pressure builds in for Tuesday and Wednesday, and you see it is transient as we do have a little bit of low pressure sats in the wings out in the Atlantic, so it is a southerly wind for a time, hot and dry for Tuesday and Wednesday for many, slightly fresher through Thursday. But look into the weekend, high pressure makes a return once again. So it does look very positive into the weekend. So a slight blip there through Thursday and Friday. And you see much warmer and drier through Saturday, Sunday. Could see some transient weather fronts, even though the high pressure does hold on. Transient weather fronts are possible, but we do start to see high pressure dominate early September. Again, some uncertainty because of the exact wind direction, which could make a difference to the exact air mass we see. But even here, for the first week of September, high pressure to our east, very warm or even hot air masses moving in there for the first full week of September. Again, we do have a bit of low pressure trying to mix in, so there could be some thunderstorms around, and again, that could throw a spanner in the works. But generally, it is looking fairly hot with plenty of dry weather, at least over the next week to 10 days before we could see more low pressure there mixing in further into September. If you look at the latest GEM, again, a strong westerly flow right now. High pressure builds in with southerly winds for a time this week. Low pressure nudges through again Thursday, Friday, and then we see a big area of high pressure extending for much of the weekend and next week. Again, it's more of an Azores high extension, which means the air masses aren't going to be ridiculously hot, but it still will be warm. We're not getting the 15 degree isotherm in here. We're more getting the 10 degree isotherm, which is decent, low to mid 20s. As you can see here, widely 21 degrees by midday. Up and down the country could peak at 24, 25 during the peak of the day around 3, 4 p.m. So it's not insane heat, but it's very dry and it's very warm. If you put in the precipitation, you can see there's a few odd showers around. Again, that's riding around the top of the high pressure system, but it is generally a fairly dry outlook. You see transient weather front there moving through but weakening significantly under the higher pressure, and then it does turn generally drier for areas especially further southwards, but not most likely would be northwards as well. Just the small risk of a few showers riding the high pressure system. So again, GM not quite as hot as the GFS or as warm, but probably drier and more sustained in that drier and warmer conditions. If you compare to the ECMWF, again, we've got that westerly flow at the moment. High pressure builds in for Tuesday and Wednesday, southerly winds, brief low pressure moves through Thursday, Friday, and then high pressure returns for next weekend and dominates at day 10. It is extending further from the south here, which does mean the air masses would be warm or even hot, so not extending from the Atlantic like the GEM, but extending, as said, from Europe and the Mediterranean would be very warm air masses indeed. And if we do zoom in, you'll be able to look at those temperatures during the day. Look at that, widely mid to high 20s, and this is midday. By 3 p.m, it would be even hotter than this, so that would be very warm and toasty indeed. You see it's up and down the country, even up into Scotland. We're seeing temperatures towards the 20 degree mark, which again doesn't sound exceptional, but we are heading into autumn here, and Scotland is of course going to be the first area to be impacted by the fresher conditions that are starting to evolve across the Arctic. So it does get more and more difficult to see warm conditions across Scotland. So even here, seeing high teens or even low 20s is pretty impressive. So we'll have to wait and see. But 3 runs again today showing similar patterns. Again, deviation, the exact precipitation amounts, the exact wind direction, the exact timings of any pressure changes. But the overall pattern, the overall theme of high pressure and above average air masses does continue. And we can see that in more detail on the latest ensembles. You can see here, big rise into early next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures peaking around the 15-degree mark at 850 HPA, and that's why it is possible to reach 30 degrees potentially on Wednesday. Then we see a slight drop, maybe a little bit of precipitation, but only really dropping towards average. And then we see a rise again, and we stay a good few degrees above average with quite a few up and down runs. But the big thing I'll take away from this is the majority of ensemble members, about 90%, are above that 1991 2020 mean for pretty much the whole run. There are some that dip below into early September, but it is a small minority, which again gives us good confidence that even if there will be some showers around, even when there's a bit of cloud, the temperatures will generally be above average, and that means that we're more than likely to continue the stretch of decent 20+ degree days that we expect in summer, but then start to reduce significantly in September. It looks like, at least for early September, 20+ degrees is probably going to be a guarantee, especially in the south, which is not something we see every year. But does look like this year we will be seeing a bit of an extension to summer. And as I said, if we do get those upper air temperatures slightly higher, like we're seeing this week, up towards the 15-degree mark instead of just the 10-degree mark, that's when we see high 20s or even 30 degrees become possible. Also, precipitation looks fairly low. Again, that is another big positive, meaning that, again, extending those warm and dry conditions. Because even though I know some people are talking about lack of rain, maybe not after this weekend where we have seen a widespread heavy rain, but there have been areas that have not seen a lot of rain recently. We're going to see it made up in autumn and winter. It's a kind of a repeating cycle where we always see kind of worries about those dry conditions, and then we get to winter. We get a couple of weeks of absolute deluges, and then pretty much everywhere is flooded. Hopefully we don't see that this year, but I am starting to see a theme. So yes, it is dry at the moment, and as the longer we can kind of see these generally dry stretches into the September, probably the better outcome for autumn overall, especially in terms of ground conditions. Because if those rains come in early September and start to bring significant flooding and really soften up the ground, then that's probably it until next April, unfortunately, for farmland, for woods and stuff like that. If you enjoy going out, definitely, at least from my perspective, sometimes I do like to go out into the woods and stuff, and yeah, it gets terrible during the winter time, and the later we can push back those rains, the better. And that is exactly what we're seeing so far into early autumn 2024. If you look at the ECMWF, just to finish off, again, midnight run, very, very similar. Big spike in upper air temperatures during the week, drop towards average, and then an even stronger rise into next weekend and into the following week here. As much of a rise as we're seeing this week, so definitely looking like 30 degrees could be on the cards again. And because it looks like a bit more of a sustained spike, and perhaps even some runs going slightly higher than the 14-15 degree mark we're looking at this week, it could be even warmer and more prolonged. So the 30 degrees seeing on Wednesday potentially this week, or at least 29. It could just be round one of a longer, warmer and drier spell. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it does play out, but positive signs that we can see a bit of an extension of summer this year into early September. Pretty similar to last year, maybe not quite as hot, but similar to last year where early September was very warm and dry. We could be seeing a very similar pattern appearing here. As I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.